It's called Capitol Spotlight. We essentially shine the spotlight on a member of the General Assembly and discuss some of the things they've been working on and its impact on you, the Rhode Island citizen. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome back a woman that we've had the good fortune of interviewing in the past. It's certainly good to have her back with us again, the Honorable State Representative Deborah Fellela. Rep, it's great to see you again.
It's great to see you again, Dave. Thanks again for having me on.
You know, and I know you and your colleagues in the House have been very, very busy. And of course, a lot of people are concerned about the budget and financial times here in Rhode Island, looking for ways to raise revenue. You have kind of some interesting thoughts on the convention center, on putting naming rights out for bid for the convention center. Tell our viewers about that. I think it's interesting.
I did think it was a good idea. I know the speaker has talked to us about, thinking outside the box a little, and since the Dunkin' Donuts is named the Dunkin' Donuts Center, used to be the Civic Center, I thought it would be a good idea at this time. This money would help really the city of Providence. We could put it out for a 3, 5, or 10 year. Dunkin' Donuts has just renewed their contract for 10 years. And I thought the best part of it was if conventions came to our town, to our city, this way we could, if it was named a certain company of sort, this way they could maybe get their conventions to come into the city of Providence. In that case, they'd use the hotels, the restaurants, different things. It'd be a win-win really for the city.
Well, and the fact that you mentioned that Dunkin' Donuts just renewed tells you that they obviously think it's a great marketing tool for them. And I'll tell you, I think some organization, a business enterprise, would be smart to partner with our convention center.
I agree. I had I've gotten some correspondence from a company out in, I believe it was Illinois. It's called the Superlative Group, and they contacted me. They thought it was a great idea. That's what they do. They work on renaming these type of things, and they've worked with convention centers. When I had the hearing on the bill, of course, the authority came out. The convention center authority came out to testify against it, and he says they don't really name convention centers. They name sporting event places, but this group, the Superlative Group, did say that they do name convention centers.
Well, there was a time when they didn't name sporting event places either.
That's right.
And so I think you said it best when you talked about looking outside the box, because why couldn't you name it? And again, this is found money.
That's right. And just I thought of, when you think of all the different events that do come into the city, and pretty soon we'll be having the college graduations and how we do all different types of events in the city. I mean, with everything that we have going on, this would be, I think, a win-win for everybody.
No question. I know, too, you've talked to us in the past about this, and I know you're continuing to work on it, dealing with financial institutions, fingerprinting folks that want to cash checks. You have a problem with that.
I do. I just feel that in this day and age, we have to show our license, a different ID, a picture ID, and then there are cameras in the banks. The banks really don't know where these fingerprints go. After they take your fingerprint, they store it. How long do they store it for? Where does it go from there? The Bank of America in New Hampshire did stop that practice by using the fingerprint check cashing practice, and I do think it's a good idea. I just think that we've got the cameras, they've got to show an updated ID. It can't be an expired license or an ID. So I think just that alone, I just think it's just such a, I don't know, to give your fingerprint out like that, it's kind of embarrassing, I think, in the bank.
And I'll tell you something else. I've heard from some folks in certain segments of the community that it's a little demeaning, that sometimes some of these financial institutions, and I'm not picking on any one particular one, but they have kind of selective enforcement with requiring these fingerprints.
I know, and I think it does. I've been at banks many times. It might be an elderly person that just doesn't have the means to get to their own bank, and they've got to do that. It's just, I don't know, I just don't think it's a way to go.
Where does it stand right now? Where does that legislation stand at this very moment?
We did have a committee hearing on it, and it's held for further study, but I will keep watching it to see what happens.
You know, another thing that you're working on that, quite frankly, when I read about it, I was a little shocked to think that some people are actually getting abortions because they don't like the sex of the child that they might be having. That's absolutely startling.
I know. When the Right to Life had told us about that, the organization, the Right to Life group, had mentioned that to us, I was shocked that goes on. I mean, I guess maybe other countries like China and in some of those countries, that's been a practice in the past, but when I heard it started in the United States, I was very surprised. Actually, there are I think it's 4 states that actually have banned this legislation. It just seems so unheard of today.
Well, and your legislation would stop people from using it as a means of selecting the sex of their child. It wouldn't totally, completely call for the banning of all terminations of pregnancies, just in this particular example, right?
Just in this particular case where they're using when they're finding out the sex of the baby. They actually can find out the sex, I believe the package said 7 to 8 weeks they can submit a blood sample and they can already get that information. So I don't know, I just think that's just kind of unheard of.
Well, and not only that too, but when you stop to think of all of the families that would love to adopt a child in this day and age, irrespective of the gender of that child, that's really sad too.
I agree with you 100%. I just think, I know, like, I think years ago was China, they only wanted boys. And, I just don't think that's just not nice.
Well, Representative Fellela, thank you so much for talking to us. My best to you and all of your colleagues in the House. And as we head into the end of the session, thanks for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And of course, we couldn't do it without you. Thanks for tuning in. From the third floor of the State Capitol, I'm Dave Barber.